So we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order, and we are anticipating one other member joining us from a member of the board for today, joining us on Zoom. So let's call to order and then we'll get started. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from January 22nd?
I'll make it.
Okay. And a second?
Second.
Okay, Nick. All those in favor? Aye. First item before us is a revisiting of 149 Seascape.
Yes, she's not here now.
Okay.
My name is Dan Kissinger. I work for McDonough County Architects. Okay, so we revisited the design after comments from the board. Trying to limit the square footage of the second floor a little bit more, so we didn't have two-story boxy elements. We had to keep the flat roof design due to the flood zone restrictions of maximum building height. Everything's all elevated. We do have landscaping around the perimeter, which was meant to bring the grade focus to the first floor that's elevated. We changed a lot of the materials to limit the industrial look, which was a lot of the comments that were brought to us. So now we're just using the one material of what is called Akoya Barnwood 2.0 Light Ivory.
Is that the sample there?
I do not have a sample of that. We're in the mail right now, but I did send an email to Pat just now. I don't know if we could bring it up at all, if you want to see the color.
Yeah, we can handle something like that. Plus,
You know what, if I can use your full address, do you want to try it? Sure. What's the village address? Sag Village at Gmail? No.
This is
the other thing is that that information needs to be in for the board to consider before the meeting.
I do have a printout. I don't know if that's.
Yeah, that's kind of big.
Yeah.
Depends on the ink cartridge.
Tom Alicia is here.
Okay, thank you. So, how
How many times have you presented?
This is the third.
I do think there's some improvement with the surface work that you've done exterior. I am a little bit concerned about the exterior lighting and the amount of illumination of the siding in certain spots, and I would request maybe foot level lighting.
Okay.
Recessed sort of thing, so that you're not illuminating so much of the paneling at night. In particular, the rear elevation is just pretty heavily illuminated at night. So if those could be step lights or something outside the doors, that would reduce a lot of that
I'm sure
night illumination.
And we should all probably know this, but I don't. The second or third, I guess, second floor,
Yeah,
those lights, are those requirement lights for egress or anything?
they are required outside of any door leading to a balcony.
Okay.
But like I said, if they were step lights, they would,
So just
Be a lot
less
more modest.
reflecting off of the materials.
yeah.
Yeah, so the second floor, the changes that we've made in the back of the house, if you could see from elevation 3, that's on the screen right now. I stepped back the whole entire second floor so that it didn't have that box element. I had some recesses for the balcony for the 1 bedroom on the left side. And then just kind of trying to play with the elevation. One of the other items that were brought up during the other hearings was about we had glass railings before, we changed that all to cable railing.
Looks like you have a board railing too. Are you mixing the railing?
Yeah, so we had this, so on the left side of that elevation, we have just this bump out that's going to have AC condensers. And I wanted to do some type of board screening around that and to introduce a little bit more of the change of materials. I added that in parts of where the railing is. Instead of the railing just wrapping the entire back of the elevation, I wanted to break it up a little.
So that's the top floor to the south. Seeing that correctly? The top floor towards the south on the top floor, where you're speaking about the board railing.
Yes, yeah, so under the smaller awning style window,
Mhm.
There's a board.
Yes, yeah, and to the
railing,
right of the
and
double.
to the right.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
And I think the idea with that was mainly for getting a little bit more of the view from the bedrooms out of those sliding glass doors. So that's where the railings are, the cable railings.
Cable, yeah. Any comments here on the table? From the table?
I think that, at least in the renderings, the color is softened up
Oh,
and these
she does.
breaks are sort of helpful. It still stands very tall and the landscaping is great, but are you looking to berming at all, even partial berming in some areas to?
So one thing that I've done research on is not to change the grades in flood zones. So it's
The subsidence is
not
too great.
really a standard that FEMA really likes.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, so we do have other renderings from the landscape architect that shows what the landscaping really would look like instead of my renderer
Yeah.
kind of tried to mimic a little bit of that. I don't know if you want me to show you those.
Yeah.
They're on the screen now.
Okay.
So we're using salt tolerant trees. We have Bleditzias, like locust trees, holly junipers, grasses, mountain grasses. I'm trying to keep this as natural as possible and all the indigenous vocabulary with this landscape. On the back of the house, we have privet hedge. It's a little tight just to help mitigate that first floor being elevated.
And what are the second floor ceiling heights now?
Second floor is 9 foot. And first floor is 10 foot.
Interior ceilings or floor to roof?
Interior.
While you're studying that, Alicia, did you have any comments or questions?
Yes, hi, good afternoon. I'm sorry if I missed this, but what is the materiality? I'm seeing like different colors. It's hard to tell. Is it real wood? Is it a manufactured, like a truss? But what is the materiality of the facade?
So, Matt, could, you
So
want
it's
to?
a thermally modified natural wood.
And it's all the same monotone throughout?
It's gonna be the same material throughout. We did mix, if you wanna go to the architectural renderings, sorry. We did introduce. So the first floor elements are going to be more of a vertical pattern to it, same material. And then the second floor, I made it all horizontal in those areas, except for elements that are two-story, like in the front right there.
And is the roof realistically that flat? There's nothing, like no mechanical, nothing's coming up or anything?
So no mechanicals on the roof at the moment. Well, what we've decided. I have condensers that are, if you see in this image right here to the left, we have the same screening material over a flat portion that has condensers in that area, and there's also another 2 on the other side, and that's concealing those mechanical equipment, so we don't have to put it on the roof. But going back to it's going to be a flat roof. It's going to be more of a parapet detail. It does have a small pitch to it just because of the drainage of water and everything. But from looking at it from the outside, it's going to look straight flat.
Okay, thank you.
And the color almost appears to be a peachy, orange, yellow kind of tone. Is that the intent?
So it's more of a natural wood tone. So it's not like a peachy.
This is,
But would you agree that what we're seeing here is peachy? Almost flesh color?
I mean, even between the 2 screens, I feel there is a difference, but I think that's just the quality of the either the screen or the lighting.
right, but this is something that you don't have an example of today, right?
We don't know.
Okay.
And the disparity definitely supports why we asked for samples.
And then
I think it would be
behind-
good to see a sample of the product since it is so omnipresent. I mean, it's the entire facade, you know?
And then between the 2 windows behind the screen, that's a darker tone material. Is that black windows or is that sheet metal?
So it's going to be the black windows. It's going to be more of the like an alcoholic metal trim.
Sheet metal,
Yeah, like a sheet metal that is wrapping the exterior.
black,
The black to match the window.
matte black.
What was the color of the windows that we decided it was?
I think we need to see all these things. I think we should present a palette of the material. Even if it's, you know, a small amount of it, it just seems that you have so few materials, we should really get a sense of them.
It's a New York gray window color.
Anything else, Alicia?
No, I was just, well, maybe one other thing. I was just wondering, could you go back to the back, the image of the back?
You wanna see it from the architectural?
Well, I was just curious, before there was like a stair that was coming down.
Yes, on the right side, it's
was-
Sealed by the bushes.
covered by the new plantings that are more prevalent in this illustration than in the plans that we have on the table. But this is what you're going towards, not what we have in our packet, is that
For
correct?
planting,
Yeah.
for this one, yes.
Okay.
And that's more for the actual building.
Okay,
Could you go to like a map or a site view? It looks to me like Sagaponic Pond is probably the most public view of this. Right,
Mountainside, Maine, yeah.
what's that mean?
Do we have an aerial?
There's an area with the landscape.
There's more of a landscape plan on the, yeah.
Yeah. But in that, yeah, can we go to that lower left? And just zoom into that a little bit and keep it high on the screen. So basically the ag reserve is just to the left
Mhm.
and the Sag Main is directly below. But this is a fair amount of distance in off the street.
Mhm.
This is the present layout.
This is an existing.
Yeah, this is the existing structure. The pool is not in the same spot.
The pool is in the same spot, we're keeping the pool where it is.
Okay, all right. So the new structure will be north of the pool, or
It's-
above the pool.
It's still below, we're trying to maintain some of the certain angles of the existing. If you could go to maybe the first sheet in that set, I think. Have the,
So existing, so the other part of the boomerang is parallel with
it's parallel with
the pool,
Yep.
with the
yeah,
alongside.
if you see.
other.
Okay, all right, thank you.
So for me, I think it's the northeast or the rear elevation is the most difficult to get my hands around. It just seems so many different
Towards
kinds.
the pool.
Yeah,
Okay.
somehow the
Or from
front
the
is, I wouldn't say all resolved, but it's quieter.
Mhm.
And there's so many shapes and chamfers and screens and decks with no openings to them, which I think you're trying to hide the condenser, right?
Correct.
I think I might recommend just having the facade higher because it's odd to see a deck with nothing, there's no way to get to it. I mean, it looks like, I don't know if I have the roof plan, but it looks like a dozen different shapes. Is that about right? You have right, so many different polygons and squares and rectangles all combined somehow. So it's hard to, when it's quieter, it somehow makes sense. But then when you go to the northeast, that's where it all kind of evolves into a whole series of different openings, different sizes, and it's kind of hard to understand if it's a condo or if it's a, I don't know if you could speak to that a little bit. If you would go to the northeast rendering.
Number 3 rear copy.
I mean, I can count almost a dozen different moves here. It just seems very complicated. Am I alone on this, or does anyone else? want to-
No, I think the fact that the shapes are sort of, the second floor shapes are self-contained in the second floor, none of them sort of break the plane of the first to second floor, it does make it seem a little, I mean, I appreciate that you're trying to break up the monotony, because I think that's what scares me the most when you see these types of places.
And a lot of it was driven by the dimensions of the interior spaces also. Minimum sizes for bedrooms on the second floor there.
Yeah.
We have the hallway in the front of the house, bedrooms are in the back, so we could maintain visual to the water.
Yeah.
But you also have two different major rectangles, and both of them have chamfers, right? So there's like a 45-degree angle. And then a few have like rectangular bits hanging off of them. So overall, it's a lot, and I wonder if there's a way to simplify it. I mean, the easiest thing I could think of is on the upper left, when you have the overhang, if that overhang could just continue over that whole facade. And then similarly on the right, at least you'd be able to connect two separate rectangles, but it's just an idea.
I know one of the first versions we had this continuous band going across, and we were told that it looked too
Yeah.
industrial, which is.
Yeah, I'm not sure they would want to stay in the same plane, but at least, I don't know. It's a difficult thing to do because of all the different heights and planes and boxes of different size units, and some awnings, some picture windows, some gliders, some sliders.
The change of the windows were also more for reducing the amount of glass also, and their bedrooms, bathrooms, so a lot of those windows are smaller. Just get a little light into those bathrooms, but it's not necessary to have them all the way down.
Yeah, particularly in the night shot, you can see how it looks like just all kinds of different kinds of windows of light coming out.
So maybe thinking through functionality as opposed to just form and line. Does get very complex.
You know, in the 80s, there were a lot of, particularly in West Hampton, large scale houses that were kind of just all popped up without rhyme or reason. I think this northeast view has that kind of feel, while somehow the other elevations are more resolved. And I'm mostly concerned about what public will see. I think the landscaping is really helping.
Rika, any other thoughts?
What?
I say, any other thoughts on Nick's comments, or are you? Where are you with adjusting that?
I think there need to be some next steps.
Okay. Do you have any questions of us? Anything to clarify?
I guess if you have any ideas on what's, 'cause I'm going to try to simplify the back back elevation. So you said the front,
Yeah, the front sort of took care, and
is good.
I hate to go in this first meeting, second, the last meeting and say too monolithic, and then come in this time and ask for more continuity. But at the same point, I think this part has been really affected, materiality and everything else. The front elevation southwest. And again, particularly when these planes sort of transfer, cross between the first and second floor, it does sort of start to break things up. Even that horizontal vertical mix, if one's continued through the whole thing, it might look, yeah.
So that element you like seeing. That
Yeah,
kind of-
the idea of making the large space, and I appreciate that with the FEMA concern, a lot of needs on that second floor.
But it's almost night and day. Normally the south has a lot of glass. And in your case, I don't know the percentages I could look on the sheet, but if we look at the south rendering, there's extremely large spaces with no windows at all. Right, that whole left portion of the entrance is that looks like a 15 by 28 foot, 30 foot space. And then there's two more of them beyond that. So I think it just needs a kind of definitive hand to define spaces by type. And personally, I'm not sure having it all the same color is helping. These woods, we use them quite a bit. They come in different cuts and sizes and everything. I wonder if you want to play with some variety because it's starting to look very, front and back. This is one way to say it.
On the northeast elevation to the right of the illustration, you have these kind of pop-out boxes in this area here.
Yeah. Mhm. And that
Is all of that absolutely necessary to the design, or are you struggling with
it was-
lighting or
So it was more for introducing just like the
fenestration type?
pushing and pulling, having something sticking out. I could even make a cantilever a little bit. That room is another bathroom. To have a decent sized bathroom for this area, I felt that I needed that extra space instead of taking it out of the footprint of it. But I could introduce other materials to it. I could have it a cantilever. It could be a separate element.
Yeah, it just seems like it's one more extra piece though somehow, the way it's done. I don't know if there's a way in the floor plan to resolve it otherwise.
And again, sort of looking southwest, a lot of the shapes and forms seem to take dominance over the house as a whole. Like the shapes are breaking the planes and everything. And then here they're sort of all used toward an advantage, not toward sort of.
Okay.
Okay. I hope some of that is helpful.
And so these railings are all, this deck is all continuous?
Yes, you could walk throughout that.
And you got this would pop out, come all the way down this one.
Yeah. but
You know,
then
sort
you
of with
interfere the
this element.
the continuity to it, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just very boxy. Segment, maybe. Okay, thank you. All right. Okay. There we go. All right, thank you. Is there a motion to adjourn that to next month?
So moved.
Okay, a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye. And Alicia, if you would, I do need you to vote aye on our votes, or at least vote. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Sorry, I agree. I just don't know why my video is not working now for a moment. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
I don't know why my video is, it says you can't start your video because the host has stopped it.
Right, we were getting just a picture of you on the main screens here in the whole discussion in the meeting room.
Oh,
So
sorry.
I asked her to flip us back to the indoor camera for now.
Okay,
And the next meeting date is.
Like that.
Thank you. And 33 Farm Court. What's the difference?
David Griffin of David Griffin Interior Plus Design. The design is for a pool house in back of a main existing house. The last review, there was some comments about the entry building being the little side entry that you go through to get to the main part of the pool house. It was shown as white. I took some of the thoughts of the board. We thought maybe they wanted to study the white or see the white. I brought the white, but I actually changed that little entry to be a natural cedar. That was one of the suggestions. I think it actually looks really good. You'll see renderings of that. Sorry, it's a little orange but I do have samples of the white. And what I did do was change the, I kept the pergola, the white color, distant white there, and then changed the outside boards to cedar. The board also wanted, and that's the metal roof at the top, a little bit of the metal roof. The board also wanted to see photos of the existing pool house, which I have in there.
Very good. Thank you.
There's a view of the back of the house and kind of the two exposures where people would possibly see the little structure in the back. In my last view there, I kind of show those views again with the future privet in place and kind of how the building could be hidden.
I like the choice of sidings there. It seems to come.
Yeah. And you know what, thinking about it, the inside is going to be the white shiplap board, so it'll be nice to be outside and see the cedar and then go in.
Good. We'll go with that. Any comments? Felicia, any comments?
I'm good.
Okay.
I'm curious about the two different roof materials. If there's a thought to maybe keep them the same.
I've gone back and forth, but part of the little entry piece where you go in is to give it a little contemporary flair, which is why I had shiplap and I had a whiteboard with the metal roof. And then when I put the cedar in, I still kept the reveal detail, which is a little bit more contemporary. So I thought it would be nice with a little offset of the metal roof there.
I like it. I think it also follows the tradition of farmhouse, building a place and then
Yeah.
getting a few more goats and then you add a little shed off the side of it. So, for example.
Goats, okay. And the furniture is gonna be a little contemporary, we haven't decided on all of it, but, you know, it's more like the way to see it.
Any other thoughts?
The front elevation, is the door, the new door, the same width? Is it basically one more of those panels, but just 4/1?
The front door,
Yeah, there's a new door number 3.
yeah, 4 lights there over.
Is it the same width or is it a different width in the signage?
I think it's about the same. Trio.
In other words, is it meant to look related to the others or is it meant to look?
No, it's supposed to be separate.
Is it also gray? I'm just curious versus white, like it's.
Yeah, so in the, you'll see the windows have a putty color to them and that door matches.
Mhm. And
Same with the patio.
seems to have no trim around it either.
At that door, no, because that has the shiplap board kind of coming in on the casing.
Tony, any?
No, I think it's low height, it's got a corporate, a contemporary corporate the guy wants, but I don't think its location or overall height has a deleterious effect on the neighborhood at all.
Okay, let's, is there a motion to approve?
I guess after that statement, I'll make it.
There's no way out of that one.
Okay. Is there a second? Alicia, you want to?
Second, I'll second.
Okay, thank you. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Very good, thank you. Thank you very much. I want to thank Alicia.
Thank you. I might keep these to stare at them. My wife throws it out for me.
Did you want the rest?
Yeah, why not? Thanks.
I can't mind them.
I can take care of
Yeah,
that.
you can hold on to this.
Oops.
Okay. do we have a-
They have seven here, yeah.
Yes,
Did you hand out seven?
pardon me?
Did you hand out the file for seven?
That's all it was that little, John Bennett's information
Okay,
with the night renderings.
yeah, I'm not sure that I got that. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Okay. Very good. Thank you. We'll start with, did everyone have a chance to visit the site on this? Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Were there any comments or observations on what was proposed?
It's easy not to, you can be overwhelmed by the location and underwhelmed by the current condition of the
Yes.
metal cladding.
Right, yeah.
I didn't realize I didn't realize the proximity to the other properties.
Yeah, actually the driveway for the neighbor actually crosses through this particular site.
Yes,
And so it gives the impression that the lot is very, very small. It's not. It grants permission for the neighbor to access their home. However, the thing that strikes me, speaking personally, is just the sheer mass, visual mass that this takes on from what it is now, which is already somewhat large. And I don't know how to work through that exactly. It's not necessarily my task, but it is just what hits me first is just where we are with it, how much lighting is coming out of it. I realize that you're reducing the emissions. However, it's still just really huge. And the visual mass is where I'm caught with thinking about approving it. But that's just my particular position. So I welcome anyone else's perspectives and thoughts.
I agree with that. I mean, it's hard to marry obviously, as you said, the site is big enough, the zoning, but with the sort of visual mass given the other properties.
In my mind, it almost sets it apart as like a industrial sense. Can you zoom in on that? The elevations is what I'm trying to get to. Thank you. It's still a lot of glass, even though it's pulled down. And I was trying to recall whether I was actually on the board back when it was approved or not. I may have been.
I can't understand you.
I said, I was trying to recall whether I was on the board in '09 when this was first approved. But it might have
What year?
been.
It was in 09?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But given the
It's a 2011 base mass events.
2011?
That's when the CO was issued.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it might have taken a while to get going. Yeah. styles and ideas have changed.
I mean, yeah, I mean, personal preferences notwithstanding, it is an empirical reduction in glass. There's overhangs I don't find particularly attractive, but they're used to illuminate to further reduce illumination.
Right.
I don't know. We're gonna maintain defensive decisions here, you know?
No, I understand, but it's also, you know, this is what we're saying is okay.
Would it be helpful to go through the reductions again? They're all fairly significant.
I do remember them and they're appreciative.
They're there, but
Yes.
it's still just the sheer design and what it is one thing, what you're requesting it to become is a different thing.
It also benefits from the zoning board of appeals approval for the height, which is not easy to get, but it's really the only way to make any development on this property, given the fact that you must elevate it to conform with the Federal Emergency Management Agency regulations. It's a real dilemma on the east end. Everybody, I think, recognizes that people would probably choose to build their houses a little bit lower, but the community rating requires that they be elevated, and that affects not only this house, but everybody. You have to, FEMA, and particularly in the East Quag, or Quag, I should say, got very annoyed when people weren't following the regulations in terms of height, and they threatened the community's rating for a while, saying, we're not gonna give you flood insurance. So, I mean, I know you're an aesthetic board, and I have wonderful appreciation for that, but also unfortunately, the regulations drive design. I think you're aware of that as anybody. Having said all of that, I think it's a significant reduction. I mean, Alan Russo from Mitchell Wickwire is here. I don't want to steal his show, but I think it's pretty clear that it's relative to what's there now. I think it's a vast improvement. I think we've tried to listen to the board and came in with a reduction of glazing. Again, we're trying to be, not only communicative, but cooperative with the board. If I may, it seemed at the last meeting, and again, it ain't over till it's over, I get that, but at the last meeting, it seemed that generally everyone was favorably disposed towards it. The only question, Chairman, you wanted everyone to go out and look at the property, and I get that, of course. But I thought we had really worked really hard to get this to a point where it was approval. The code doesn't say that you have to approve a house that subjectively is perfect for everybody. You're supposed to meet the standards, and I think we've really, really tried very hard to do that. Alan's here from the West Coast if you want to come up and see if we can answer any questions.
I know we went through this all last time, so happy to just focus on it.
Please introduce yourself.
Oh, I'm Alan Russo with Mitchell Wickwire Architecture. Happy to answer any questions. The only additions was sheet 23 with the renders, just trying to show that the lighting is minimal and focused on safety. We're not trying to light up the facade. It's just for walking around.
Yeah, if I may, at the last meeting, it wasn't clear whether or not the board wanted that, but I said, give this to the board. So that's, I mean, we did it. It's pretty minimal.
Yeah, that was the only addition from the previous
That was the only thing that was requested.
package. Also have the samples if you want to re-review those or any other topics.
Can we look at the north facing rendering?
Sheet 9.
Actually, less glass there, purposely.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all agreed it was aesthetically pleasing, and I understand what you're saying about the height and the requirement. I mean, it may be the protrusion of the vertical pieces that give it some interest, but also maybe that's adding to the chunky, sort of more massive feeling of it. But I don't think that that's, I don't know that there's something you can do about that. That's just a observation.
I feel some of the mass is because of the mass and sort of breaking up vertically, at least gives you some separation to feel,
There was a.
Yeah,
feel-
it gives you more interest and it's more fluidity, but it's just, maybe that's what's happening.
And again, to the extent that the village has struggled for years to try to figure out the sweet spot, as it was for FAR, GFA, a lot of that is driven by mass. So we clearly meet that. I don't think you can forget that one of the reasons that that the whole limitation based upon lot size came into mostly the villages, was they were concerned about mass. So obviously we conform with that.
Any other comments?
So has the board approved it at this point,
Um,
other than this elimination?
I'm not sure. I encouraged the board to go visit the site. And I don't, at this point, I don't think it would be unanimous, but you can certainly pass on 3 votes.
We would ask you to do that.
Can we see the south elevation?
Yeah, that's the next page.
So this is what's facing the ocean. Walkway to the ocean is bottom right. You did say all 3 chimneys are functional?
Functional mechanically, there's only 2 fireplaces in the project,
Mhm.
but there's vents and exhaust and
But
other
they are
things
used, yeah.
They're being used.
Okay.
There's also, you can see here, there's an attempt to bring more of the native plantings into the property than is there now. So there's more of the beach grass type landscaping here.
Yeah, there's a surprising amount of lawn on the existing site.
Might just be mowed beach grass.
Excuse me?
Well,
Well,
it might be mowed beach grass. at
But
this
in the
point.
winter time though.
Yeah.
Right, in the other couple seasons, right now, for example, there wouldn't be anything to see,
It's not green.
there's nothing, there'd be nothing visible at the house.
Mhm.
Right, there's no winter growth, there's no coniferous plantings of any kind.
A little bit on the sides, but
Are those shad trees though?
I'm sorry,
Are those shad trees? What are those depicted as?
I don't know the species.
They're like shad trees, which are there.
Typically on an oceanfront house, one doesn't plant. One has native plantings, but one doesn't plant in front of it.
I think there's certainly many examples of it. I've seen.
Actually, that's a,
With Ahrb has great examples of mixtures of winter and summer growth plants. I mean, just,
what you're seeing is a Japanese black pine,
okay, well,
Thank you.
just for reference.
I think I wouldn't mind seeing something that from the beach for the other 8 months that people actually live here showed some kind of breakup of what is a very large house.
Okay,
A lot of lots.
Nick, would you consider approving it based upon submission of a planting plan that the board would accept? You know what it's like on a project like this, you're trying to
Yeah,
figure out how to get going. I think I'm not trying to say that we wouldn't come and have to deal with you with something that you liked in terms of a planting plan, and obviously, but just, it happens,
yeah, I think.
building to construction drawings, bidding.
I
and
think
all that stuff.
there's 3 elements going on. One is, what is this material? Have we seen all the samples?
Right here.
Okay,
Yeah, and I can explain
Yeah, why
which
don't you
goes
explain
where. So the bulk of it is the GFRC cladding, that's this,
Mhm.
which is the sort of sand colored material.
It's cementitious?
Yeah, that's GFRC planks. And then the vertical concrete pieces our gas in place concrete, that's this one. And the windows are obviously dark, this.
And the units are, is it black there, or is that an oil or bronze?
It's intended to be dark bronze. This one is exceptionally dark. It is intended to be a dark bronze window.
And then the chimney caps are also black?
Those are matching dark bronze. Yeah, all of the metal should be the dark bronze. And that's really the palette.
And the inside ceilings are all white?
Inside ceilings are all wood plank.
The ceilings are wood?
Correct. They're white oak.
Because the first floor looks like sheetrock, doesn't it?
I can assure you it is not.
Okay.
Can't speak to if it looks like white in the rendering, but it should be a white oak plank.
It's the interiors,
Inside.
inside.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no drywall
We can make that work.
other than mechanical spaces, garages, things like that.
So I have had boards approve the architecture in the past with the understanding that we'd have to come back and come to agreement on a landscape plan, which we would take your direction to see that if there can be some vegetative buffering that would be there during the off season. And just, you know how projects go in terms of being able to get, have the architect work on, construction drawings, bid drawings, get the project moving. It seems to me that, I'm not trying to be, the last thing I'm trying to be is presumptuous, but it seems to me that there's general agreement that the house is acceptable. We would get our landscape people to start working on something that would meet your requirements.
Can we just see the east and west?
Right, this is.
That's the west, that's the east, if it helps. No, I know, east and west aren't rendered the same. Yeah, 14 and 15 have the unrendered versions.
You wanted to see the east?
East and west, but.
East and west, well, it's 14 and 15 on the top of the elevations. Can we put those in front of you? Oh, they're there, right there.
So that's the east on top with it, that's from the tennis court, that's existing. And then that's the west.
Oh.
On top of that.
So there are no color renderings of either side, is that correct?
That is correct.
But the palette
The
doesn't
palette
change.
is all the same.
And what is the reduction in glass?
Oh, let me go through that.
Previous.
We have, this is just, all I'm doing is cribbing from the last presentation. Let's see, I'm so sorry. The east elevation, the existing there's not much of a reduction there. The east elevation is 13.49, the proposed is 13.45, but still 13.5%. North elevation, the existing was 43.38, the proposed is 31.39. The west elevation, the existing was 1685, the proposed is 1389. And the south elevation, we're at 51.91, and the proposed is 41.66. Of course, that's the ocean front, where you're trying to capture the views, but.
Is that in just square footage, or is it reduction via the glass quality
Those
too?
are percentages.
Percentages of Of the glass, yes, the glass reduction. So you have 13%, 31%, 13%, 41%.
Was this emission glass or not?
I'm sorry?
Is it tinted glass?
No.
Or energy efficient glass that would be reducing emission at all?
It is currently, it's low iron, low E.
I think Tom's trying to speak of the glass that reduces the emission of light through it. So
There's energy efficient glass, which actually lowers a slight amount of light
its
emissions.
percentage is up to 25%.
I don't think so. I think it's just U.32 low iron glass. That's the intent.
Is there a willingness towards moving if we went to ask for that?
So what? Sort of different type of glass.
Mm.
We'll certainly consider it. I'm unfamiliar with exactly what you're referring to, but
Well, candidly to everybody, I'm trying to see if there could be some sort of at least approval for the house stay. So if you say we'll consider it, you know we're coming back because the board is going to say considering is one thing, agreeing is the other. Is that fair to say?
Well, I don't, personally, I probably would not give a conditional approval expecting something to follow up.
Okay, well, I was just curious,
That's just
Thomas,
me.
what the other
Yeah.
board members thought on that. But so that would,
I'm still,
what would you like us to do? That's sometimes the most direct question. We have a house that conforms with.
I know it conforms, but I have an issue with the mass and the design, that it's just huge, especially in that particular setting.
Well, it's just a typical Sagaponic beachfront setting, if I may. I think so. But having said that, what would you like? The amorphous sort of, I have a problem with the, I'm all ears when it comes to specific recommendations. We've tried to break it. This is not, doesn't present as a.
John?
Yeah.
I would try not to use the build out framing that divides it into sections. I think that works against
Try
reducing
not to,
the visual mass.
You would try not to use
The vertical partitions that you're adding into the
vertical
structure.
concrete
Right,
features.
yes. To me, that makes it look much more industrial, much more fortress-like.
because they project.
It's because they project and they also build out these sections. And I'm trying to, in my mind, it would be nice to figure out how to make it fit in. I'm not sure it fit in when it got the CO in 2011, to be honest. But like I say, I don't really recall this particular setting.
It's a different
But
house.
I understand, yeah, it is, yeah, exactly.
Would you,
Would the glass be enough, to, just very directly sway the other board members? As we've been, this comes out of left field, to be honest with you. The last time we were here, the board was quite supportive. And Tom, you wanted everyone to go down and take a look at it, but I don't know that, the houses there are close and tight together. There's no way of getting around that. But you know, that's what the zoning allows us to do, and we're trying to be accommodative to everything, but
Like I said earlier, if you can get three positives out of this, it's fine. You've got an improvement.
well, quite frankly, do we have that?
I don't know. I can put it up for a motion. We can.
Why don't we just continue, listen, I'm sorry to interject, but
No, go
our
ahead.
normal process is to go through the questions from each of the board members. I don't think we've finished that.
Okay.
I think there's not, I understand you're in a rush, we're all in a rush.
I'm not in a rush, Nick. I'm not in
Let's
any
just
more
be, let's just
rush
be
than
clear
I'm in
that,
your projects.
that each of us have not had our time yet to speak on each of these points. Let us please do that, and then we'll do our voting.
Okay.
If you don't mind. Tom, do you want to finish what you were saying?
To me, it could be much less visual mass. I don't know whether you're willing to consider going through that or not, but that's up to you. But it just seems to me to be excessively fortress-like. It might be something that the client is asking you to do, but I don't know whether that's just the drive of the project, or whether that's something that isn't particularly, this is the only thing that we're willing to consider.
The breaking up of the facade was intentional.
Mhm.
We thought the board would like that.
That would be preferred. Are you more concerned about the north side or the south side or both?
Both, but is there a way to break it up without so much extra mass, so much visual impact? Do they actually have to protrude from the exterior in the manner and appearance that they do?
Not necessarily, but I think it is good that they break the plane.
Could you go to the
And every
elevations, the drawing elevations, not the rendering? I think it'd be the easiest way to see it.
24, 25. Actually,
I think, Tom, also it's the east and the west sides that, just visually, it's a different feeling because it protrudes out.
Can you remind me the length of the half?
That's a good question.
Compared to the prior, so it's not just the east and it's not just the south and the north, but it's the east and the west really jut out on either side, so it gives it a sense of length.
I think there's an honesty to the CAD drawings. So I think we could try to be clear. There's some very positive things that have happened in the transition in this project. I don't know if it's completely resolved in my eye, but they've reduced the glass. They've made the material softer, even though they're very hard materials. They're lighter materials. They're non-reflective, all these materials, correct?
Correct.
I think the landscaping needs some resolution. I personally would require at least a second floor to have that the less light emitting glass. In today's application, I don't think we'd accept so much percentage of glass to the elevation in general.
Yeah.
The breakup or punctuation of these vertical elements are definitely a way to break up the mass, but do you have that elevation? What is the length of the building?
I actually don't know offhand.
What's the what? I didn't hear
The
you.
length in plan. If you go to sheet 3, there's a survey. I apologize, that's not the number I memorized.
Do you have it to scale survey?
If you could
Yeah, we can just zoom in.
zoom in, there might be a. I can't do that. If I can do it again.
The first floor elevations, I'm assuming this run is 138 feet.
Yeah, I was gonna say 150, but
Yeah, this is 130 plus.
Is that measuring though to the end of those protruding?
It's exterior wall to exterior wall as required. No, am I missing something?
Yeah, there's an addition on the west.
Yeah,
There
there,
mechanical space, so I'll say.
The light green?
so 150.
150.
Yeah, but that doesn't protrude out past this black line, does it? The course that I'm seeing, the surveyor's course, running along this black line is 136.8 feet.
This is the addition.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So it's another 20 feet.
Oh, okay.
Just
But
call it
it's-
150 feet. I guess the point is, what is our mind's eye? What is the scale of a typical house? And it's very difficult to break up. It's a rectangle. I mean, no matter how you shake it, it's a rectangle. So they've added these elements to try to aid it, but it's still 150 foot rectangle.
Well, the other thing to keep in mind is, and again, I said before, the unfortunate thing of having to design more and more to regulations is that it's squeezed in between some very restrictive environmental setbacks on both the south, the north and the south, of course. You have Fairfield Pond. So if this was a farm field lot, you would do something that wasn't quite as linear.
I think that's the very point that I'm after, is that you have a set condition. I have 150 feet, and it's all linear, and there's no setbacks other than in these protrusions.
No, but you can operate in a vacuum. The board has to be sympathetic to the other restrictions that have been placed upon the lot. You can't just act as if that's in a vacuum.
Yeah, I think that's the point, though, is that there's only so much you can do as an architect on this.
On this lot.
You can't cantilever sections of the elevation, can you, on the second floor? For example, if you wanted to adjust the planes so it wasn't all one plane.
Cantilevering, you're gonna, the building inspector's here right now. It doesn't matter if you cantilever stuff. If you push it out, that's the setback he takes it from. Correct, John? I just, yeah, I mean,
That's
people
the
will
answer.
come to me and say, oh, well,
The
I know
answer
where the
is no,
setback here,
John.
but we'll cantilever
I'm
out.
actually, John, actually trying to help you.
No, I understand.
Where I'm going is that there are restrictions on this lot, there's restrictions on the size. And you've done your diligence of trying to reduce the glass, and you've made the materiality more beach-like ultimately, right? These are beach-like.
It's also a renovation.
Yeah, it's a renovation. So I don't know the best ways to resolve the issues Tom's speaking of, because
There may not be any resolution.
I don't know the ways of doing it. I mean, the buttresses, which is really what they are, right? Like a nod to buttresses. That's a way of breaking it up, but it's still just a very long elevation. My biggest issue is how much light's coming out of this thing. Because what's the square footage on the south again?
It's about 8,000.
Of glass?
Oh, no.
Oh, sorry, no,
Still
total square footage of square footage of floor.
It's usually on the survey.
No, he's asking about
Oh, okay.
the glass area.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We'd have to add them together. 222 plus 1420 plus 1701 plus 181.
Maybe a lot better, for sure.
3,600.
3,600 feet of glass.
Super quick.
In this building, which is historic, I mean, this addition isn't, John did a great job on it. But what do we think the square footages are of these 4 panels? Just to give a sense of scale here. Those are 7 foot by 3.5 feet. So 21 each, roughly.
Yeah.
So 80.
80.
So in a typical house of this period, you have 80 or maybe 100 square feet of glass versus 3,000. It's just, it's mind-boggling to a typical residential owner how this even happens in this world, that a $50 million house gets purchased and roughly torn down, rebuilt within 10 years, and is offering a 3,000 square foot glass package. And how do we as mortals manage that? How does someone walking down the beach understand how architecture stands as a scale meter with a 3,000 square foot amount of glass? So our role here is to simply try to reduce as much of it as we can while allowing the architect to have his freedoms. And it seems to me that I personally would require some kind of light emitting glass as a partial resolution, at least on my vote.
Just in terms of, the problem is structurally the house, the materials that were chosen simply did not hold up to the elements. And that's So I hate, because that, it's.
Right, but I'm not complaining about the material.
No, I just wanted to let you know, you're saying, oh my gosh, it's a 10-year-old house. I was trying to let.
Yeah, I know the previous owner, I know the previous architect, I know the previous builder, I know the story, I know exactly what you're dealing with, and I know a fair amount about the house. I'm only trying to get this moving along.
Okay, well, let's talk about the glass.
So you talk about the glass
We're gonna talk about the glass, the actual material of the glass. I understand where Nick is going, and I think the chairman's going there as well. If it's something that can be done without too much violence to the owner's design, I would say we have that discussion.
Do you have a particular product?
Oh, we do, we have a few that have been applied to, we can help you with.
We'll get that information to you.
What is it, the different glass types?
Yeah, that
Is it
reduce the
commission
emission.
producing?
I don't have anything.
We have 2 or 3
I have the
samples.
samples, but it doesn't give you
Oh, the
the
product.
names or.
We can dig it up.
We can dig it up.
Yeah, that would be wonderful.
Okay, very good.
And then, I don't want to give up the segmentation because I think it not only does it break up the monolithic aspect of it, it adds interest. Would how perhaps if they were less protruding?
I think that would help.
Yeah, I mean, the irony is the protrusions do eliminate the angle by which you can see the light.
That's the other thing that is very helpful.
Yeah.
I think it's by each member and their own point of view. Your point of view is that it's utilitarian and
I'm not sure that it's gonna eliminate that much having these things stick out.
Eliminate that much light.
It's
Right.
fairly integral to the design that they exist.
Mhm.
I think we're open.
How far
To
do they
modifying their
protrude from the
dimensions.
side?
yeah, can you show us a plan, first
They're all
plan?
different.
They're all different, okay.
But if you just go to a basic floor plan on 27. There you go. You can see they don't all quite align and there's a bit of a rhythm to them, but you know, the dimensions of them on the north side, I think, could be tweaked. On the south side, it would be trickier.
What kind of projections are they in terms of just feet? Can you,
They vary, you know, from a couple inches to 3 feet-ish.
we'll look at that.
We can definitely do that. Like I said, more on the north than the south.
Okay, if you'll consider that.
So we're gonna consider the projections. Well, we'd love to have any help that we could in terms of the type of glass, and we'll get you a landscape plan. Some trying to, I hear what you're trying to do. We'll see what we can do with that. Hopefully the topography is our friend a little bit too, so.
Can we just see the south again with the chimneys? Are they all the same height?
Yeah,
And they're all the same axis?
they are. Ten.
Would it help to undulate them?
I just wonder,
So there's really only 3
yeah.
chimneys, the dark.
Would it break in the roof line be enough, you think?
I just wonder if
I
they
wonder.
varied a little bit, if they would be a little less monotonous. I think they're important for the elevation, but somehow having the 3 of them feels quite commercial.
It's the totally different aspect of architecture, but I can't help but thinking of all those Lutyens houses with all those large even chimneys. Not that that's the type of style we're doing here, though, but. I mean, if you want some ventilation, I guess we should look at that. Is that where you'd like us to?
Well, I'm just trying to break it. I mean, you know, if you go on vacation, you go down to any seaside that's been developed, they have this kind of rhythm of large scale mechanical spaces or chimneys, and it really looks like a hotel.
Okay.
For most humans, they're not living in a house of this scale, so that the more we can make it look less commercial.
We can consider modulating them a bit.
Yeah.
Some of them are doing things.
Some of them are functional, of course, have a state code requirement to be above the.
I was thinking in
Oh,
plan,
sorry. Oh, in plan.
modulating in plan. In elevation, I mean, they can't get any higher.
Yeah.
The variances.
They're functional.
So they really can't get much lower now. So it would be a variation in footprint.
That would work as well. That breaks up what I'm hearing is some of the uniformity that seems to be some of the board's concern on some of the elements. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I think that's what I'm hearing, certainly as it relates to these chimneys.
Thank you. We'll get that glass information out to you. Okay.
Do you know what it does to the color? Does it change the color? And does it change the looking from the
It's
inside?
like putting on sunglasses, and as you have transition glasses, it slowly changes the amount of light getting through.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's
But
like.
it's not changing what you're seeing on the outside, from the inside and outside.
Natural light is so much more powerful by lumens than anything interior that it can restrict sort of exterior, like illumination coming of artificial light going out, and the inside light's really barely detectable. I mean, there's probably some made for tropical climates that are really tinted that we wouldn't ask for,
Okay.
but they are. I was surprised going into a place.
Do you remember any of the projects? Because I'm just trying to give you what you want.
Yeah, we can look into that and pick out a couple.
John, do you want to let me know?
Sure. Okay.
All right, well, that's good. Thanks, that's helpful, all of it.
Can we ask on the landscape screening? You're looking for more of a screening of the house from.
Well, it's such a large scale house. You have literally no landscaping other than native grasses, which, as you know, by end of September, October, they end up being dead. So it would be nice to have something that breaks up the form of this very large scale house, with some kind of plantings. I'd imagine you want some kind of shade also from the plants, but it just seems like 150 feet of nothing but grass is a bit bold.
Okay.
Thank you.
So as I say, we'll look at the topography also, because that sometimes can be your friend in terms of that. All right, okay, good. Okay, great. Next week?
Is March 20th.
25th. March 25th.
Thanks a million.
Thank you.
Do I need anything new by the 15th? Please.
Oh, okay. How does that work? 'Cause that's a quick turnaround. Do you want to go to a people meeting with March?
No, no, no.
Okay, you sure? Was it March 15, was it?
Motion to adjourn.
Excellent, thanks, guys.
Second.
All those in favor for adjournment? Aye.
Aye.
Alicia?
Hi.
Thank you. Next up is 77 Parsnip.
Thank you for the effort, by the way.
That's John. John? You do it?
Good to go.
I used to read.
You've got to record your name.
Okay,
Give her a
no
second
problem.
to get the-
Okay.
Okay, and just give us your name for the.
Yes, good afternoon, I'm Alex Eats, solar manager at Green Team LI. We have proposed for you today a solar PV system rated at 35.28 kW, consisting of 84 420-watt solar panels. It also has 40 kilowatt hours of backup storage. The panels themselves are on the rear roofs and one side roof of the home, as well as the side roofs of the detached garage. And the battery system will be installed in the basement of the garage.
Okay,
They are island arrays, so there will be no conduit showings on any of the roofs or down the sides of the house. All the wires will be internally ran.
although this is a relatively off the beaten path site, it strikes me as a heck of a lot of panels. And so it would help the board to understand who's getting to look at this. And what I was gonna request was if you could get a drone observation point from the height of your installation and just give us a few photographs of who's being exposed to this would be helpful for us to do our due diligence for the public's concern on this. They are low reflection panels.
I will look into the detail on that. I've actually never heard of low reflection panels before.
Okay, certain panels will have a higher gloss type of finish or a low gloss.
Okay, I understand, yeah, I can't speak to the actual glass on the panels, they are black panels and black frames, so I can find out the actual.
Do you want an example? Maybe?
I don't know that being an example, solar panel. The big question is, what is that neighbor saying?
Yeah, and so if we could request that drone observation of who's getting exposed to this, we can.
Also, the edge of it, as you're approaching, I guess, would you see it from the driveway, the edge of that gable roof?
I think so.
As you're driving down, so the long driveway from the street, you will see that right side of the house.
The edge.
And then as you pull in the front and the driveway of the garage is, then you won't see.
Is this part of a larger renovation or is it a full?
Yeah, there's a lot going on right now.
Have they built the roof yet? Cause
They built the roof, yeah.
a lot of places will sort of channel in these solar panels, so you don't have that sort of relief protrusion from the side.
Meaning like an over, like.
No, just sort of
Turning off the-
inset, the panels will be inset into the roof itself.
Oh, no, yeah, so
That's,
they'll be flush mounted, but that's about 6 inches off.
yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have any detail of how you manage that? Do you actually see the space between the top of the roof and the panel? Or do you put like a side, do you clip on a side element of material to hide it, or how do you manage that?
So you can see, so if you're standing at that certain angle,
Mhm.
yes, you can see completely under. They do have like raised skirts that can go on the front or around the edges. That's not something that the client offered or accepted or
Requested.
requested.
He may come around, or they may come around.
Yeah, there's a lot of aftermarket things in solar, like critter guards and skirts like that, more aesthetics than anything practical, but.
Critter guard sounds pretty important to me.
No, critter guards, yes, yeah, so,
Could we see the house in relation to the neighbor? I think the one to the west.
I could go to Google.
Yeah.
We have a thing for it. We have.
Horoscope.
I mean, this isn't give us all that we need, we can see it's not,
Hmm.
it's a long driveway, but it's a
Yeah,
long
no,
driveway to
there-
neighbors right next to you.
There's, yeah, there's a lot of nearby things.
May I ask a question?
Yes,
Is there any, I'm just curious, is there any comparable solar roofing of this magnitude in Sagaponic? I just haven't seen it before, or this much of it.
I don't believe so, no.
I mean, it's ostensibly a good thing, right? I'm just, it seems like a lot. I don't know.
I
It
think
doesn't-
he could have used more.
Really?
For his proposed offset, for his, what we anticipate his usage to be.
Yeah.
But, yeah, we did have panels on the opposite roof of that one roof you mentioned coming in from the driveway, and you can see that gable, the other side of that, but you can see that from the front of the house, so we removed those, and it was more visible from backyard area. If you didn't want to see it, you can see panels from the backyard anyway.
Yeah.
But we ended up removing panels there.
And is the goal just energy efficiency? Is there any kind of, I don't know. Any other goal in mind? Is there a certification or something? I'm just curious.
His main concern was energy efficiency. As far as certifications, I'm not sure.
It might not be applicable here. I'm just curious.
Yeah,
I mean, it's more of a commercial thing.
Can you zoom in on that like that? And can you look to the left a little bit in the neighbor's window? Can you use that tool, the circle, the second circle down, yeah. And the other side of the circle, there we go. Yeah, so if you zoom over the pool and hit that button, I just want to see if that house has windows facing.
Can you spin the whole picture around
Yeah,
to see
if you zoom in closer, like over the pool. Keep going. Right now.
That's good.
Yeah. Right, okay. You have to exit there.
And I do the top one, I think, you can rotate.
Yeah, the second button. So go ahead, just like hand down.
Yes.
Hand down.
I think, are we looking to,
Is
we're
the
looking to
house-
spin this way to see if there's windows
Yes,
on this side of the
yes.
roof?
That's right.
And how would I do that?
I think the top one, that top outer circle, yeah,
Okay.
there you go,
Ah.
nice.
Thank you.
Like flying.
Yeah, so that's the question. Are they able to see it? I think the answer is yes.
I think in that roof line, and some of the roof line, it's so extensive that maybe looking into some sort of fascia or some way to show us how it could be hidden. Because it would be the entire volume of the roof. I think we've gone beyond counter sticking stuff in and more about raising something up to hide it.
And I think the way it's finished is important, so it doesn't look mechanical.
Yeah.
Are we talking adding construction like from the gutter line up to cover?
Yeah, the skirts, I think you call them.
Yeah, so the skirts, if I can clarify, so those go on the edge of the panel and just kind of go down towards the roof line.
That's right.
They don't block the view of the panels themselves from like a neighbor. I don't know what the goal is. Well, I mean,
I guess what I'm saying is,
I want to be
if
sure.
this is your the roof is the table,
mhm,
and the panel is elevated 6 inches above,
right.
does the skirt hide the break between the two?
Yeah, on the low end, yeah.
Yeah, so
I think that's what it would be. I'd want to see that.
Would it be right if I just showed, just so you understand what the skirt looks like? This just happens to be my house, so. That's-
Yeah, I think that's better looking.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I understand. Just so it's.
Yeah, that's easily, yeah.
Is there like if you're dealing with the downpour, does the water lay up underneath it or something?
No, it just rolls off, yeah, it rolls off the panel normally.
But I mean, does the skirt seal it?
It does not seal, no, it'll
It'll work out.
it'll
Okay.
work its way down, yeah.
And John, is this, have you seen this extensive paneling for a residential house, or is it on the higher side?
That would be on the highest side of any house that we have a solar panel.
Like, we're talking surplus, we're talking panic room surplus kind of thing.
It's 35.
Seems a little doomsday preppy with the level of,
35 watts. Huh?
Client has used that, yeah, we've used that term.
okay, so we're.
So, and
Okay.
he doesn't, I don't know, he doesn't think we're there yet, but we do. And with 40 kilowatt hour backup system, it's good to go.
Yeah.
We can have a party
Nice.
in Armageddon.
Perfect.
Yeah.
You see an orange extension cord going from Sag Main Street. This is good.
Okay. Very good. Do you have any other questions or thoughts towards our
All the
concerns?
panels are the same color.
Yep, they're all.
There's no
same.
options in that. They're just.
So I guess the options are either all black, which is what we usually have been installing. The back sheet can be a different color, mainly just white, but you just see like black squares of the panels, which I don't find that as pleasing.
Right.
So all black frame, all black is usually good, and we have this flush mid clamps and end clamps,
Mhm.
so you don't see anything protruding in between the panels or at the edges of the panels.
Okay.
So has Elon Musk given up on those sort of terracotta, like slate looking single panel?
Tiles, or,
Yeah.
yeah, you know, I've seen a few.
He's busy, yeah.
It's not, the technology, it makes more sense, production per square foot to just get a panel.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, and then you need Tesla to, redo your roof or fix anything, now
Oh. Gotcha.
you don't have a roof contractor, you have Tesla.
You get, it's like,
Yeah.
that doesn't sound fun.
Okay.
Right, air conditioning, it's
Eh,
like Mercedes mechanics.
Come on now, easy doesn't.
So are we asking for a skirt?
Honestly, when we have skirts, they're not really on the plans, but
Can we get two, or take a look again?
Well, you wanna know too if the panels are reflected.
Yeah. And I'd also like to be able to look at.
I'll get the drone shot.
The drone shots, yeah. So if we could, let's adjourn and revisit it,
Okay.
especially as it's one of the largest solar things that I think it deserves a little bit of corporate attention. All right, thank
So
you.
we need something from you no later than the 15th.
No later than 15.
Yes, please.
Thank you, Alex.
All right, thank you guys, appreciate your time.
Adjournment? Okay.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Ah,
Last again.
well.
Tony wants us.
Really?
Is it from the same group? I mean, where did these come from?
From the front porch.
Thank you, John. That's all I wanted to know.
Okay,
All right, Robert, let's hear what's going on.
Thank you. I'd like to start with the report that was given to the owner back in March, almost a year ago, regarding what was needed for remediation. And what you'll see, it's not so much in those pictures at the moment, but see that an extensive amount of work went into trying to remediate black mold and moisture conditions which were left neglected for a very long time. And the idea here is that in the process of trying to move forward, the water penetration matter that affects this house has still not been resolved. That's the one, thank you, Tom, right there. So that, not the photograph, what Tom's reading. So what that report will show you is that the prevalence of mold was a real concern in the structure and concerned the owners who are a new family, young family. And while this company did a reasonable job doing the remediation work, there was no guarantee that that was going to be the end of it. The matter concerning the shingles, which you can see in the photographs, those were all actual shots from the site. So that what Tom is looking at in that report.
Yes, we
Okay.
do a site.
I just
visit
wanted
there.
to make sure that you could see what we were dealing with back on the 3rd of March in 2023. So, Abby, do you want to go to the other photograph before that, please? That one. So this is what the house looked like that you're looking at on the screen and on the photographs there. This is what the house looked like in March of 2023. The house had at least 3 different, maybe 4 different types of wood shingles at the time. And we applied we put in an application to redo the siding with Atlantic white cedar shingles. And if we could just go to the next photograph, Abby, thank you. So there it is recently. And that is the shingle that you're looking at. So when John came to me and said, where did you get these shingles? As if they've been somehow stained or treated in a way. I tried to explain what the manufacturer advertises. And that is this, that this we chose because of the remediation issue, but that their shingles, this finish is not an opaque finish. It is a material that they say facilitates the turning of the natural shingle into that silvery color that we're all looking for. And that in no way this enviro bleach, which is what they call it, has a direct impact on color, because it's not a pigment. It's bleached to deal with the mold. It's bleached to deal with further weathering, but in no way is it paint or an opaque stain.
This is the final slide.
This is it. This is that. John says he got that out of the same box. Maybe mine wasn't in the box so long. Thank you, Nick. So you can see already how it's starting to turn. This one was sitting in my studio. I got over the fact that it might be suggested that I was trying to do something different than what I submitted, because I just don't work that way. And people don't work with me because of what I do, they work with me because of why I do it. So the reality is that the concern was all about the existing conditions and how these moisture conditions have yet to be remediated fully. And the engineer is working with the owner on making suggestions about how to do it. Now, one of the suggestions the engineer has come up with is completely to literally go down from the outside of the house to the bottom of to the footing and finish the exterior of the blockwork. I'm not sure they have that in their budget to do, but that's a conversation that they're having with the engineer right now. This was our effort not to come up with a new color spec, but to come up with this is not Atlantic white, this is Eastern white cedar. It's virtually identical to Atlantic white, but it has this bleached finish on it, which goes away. And according to the manufacturer, they say it actually accelerates the weathering process. Now, we got this material from Liberty Cedar in Rhode Island, where we get a lot of things.
Champlain.
Chris, right. So I called Chris and I asked him, Chris, I'm going to be at this meeting today. I need some kind of letter from SBC who makes this stuff, or I need a letter from you. And all he would do is send me the advertising literature. But in the advertising literature, Tony, it just basically says, this is not a stain. This will enhance the weathering conditions of the shingle, meaning make it turn. So there's no way that we were trying to change doing anything but installing white cedar shingles. I noticed in the submission or on the agenda, it said, we're here to apply for a color change. I didn't think that's why we were here.
I didn't write that line, so I'm not sure.
I'm not asking for a color change. I'm asking to at least understand how this process has evolved.
Okay.
Do you want to see the rest of the pictures? We have a few more. Okay, there's the southeast corner of the house, as it was. Here it is today.
Right.
And we have one more close-up. So this is above the Bilko door where the new gas installation is.
It's semi-transparent.
it's actually going to vanish. It's not, it doesn't do anything.
Tom, what do you think?
Hearing the explanation, it's just coming back to the technicality for the motion, which based on our minutes, or according to our minutes, not based on, is to approve the re-siding only in white cedar left to weather, not painted or stained. Is what the motion that we
Understand?
approved, and it was offered by Megan and seconded by me.
So I guess the question is, what do we feel now that we have all the evidence?
Right. What are your thoughts? You might have a more
It's
creative,
gonna vanish.
understandable.
It's actually an interesting product,
Mhm.
is the truth.
It is.
And
I
know-
wasn't aware of
I
it. Chris
know-
brought it up.
I know Chris for 20 years, and he is pro natural materials, for every single thing. We've done a dozen projects with him. But if it is going to be transparent in the end, like if it disappears,
Exactly.
then there's no argument. We don't have anything.
But short term, Nick, the other thing is that this gives us the benefit in what we're trying to do with the remediation matter in the house.
Yeah.
That's really why we leaned into this.
I mean, the problem is we don't have any evidence other than what, the manufacturer says, but if it's true that it doesn't change what a real shima would do other than its length of life, then there's no argument.
I'm just explaining how they promote it. And it's neither a paint nor a stain,
It's bleach.
it's bleach. But if you read their literature, they make that distinction.
They do say it's the same.
I'd like to hear John's point of view because he's a builder.
Sure.
What do you think, John?
The literature calls it a stain. It is a stained product. Your approval said not to put up a stained product.
Yeah.
That's why I flagged it wrong.
Right.
I understand, John. I'm happy to get Christopher on the phone if that helps.
You don't have to get them on
They
the
don't.
phone, it says it right there. The
I-
driver-
They don't market it as a stain or a paint.
They do, they call it a stain.
They call it a
No, read it aloud, Tom.
okay.
So I think overall though, we've had plenty of people apply for things and get approvals and then they build something else.
That's not what we do.
And I'm just talking about the past.
Yeah.
So it's John's job to try to help us with that because he
Yeah.
sees it down the process. There's even been people who put in different size windows and put all kinds of crazy stuff. A great expense, which they have to, or like,
Transom eyebrow windows.
yeah, the Daniels Lane project.
Yep.
There's a, $1 million loss or something.
So,
Whatever you want.
well, we'll probably over that considering all the
So
other.
why don't we
stuff
just
that
take this as a new application? And the technical aspects of it, and see if we approve it. Because that's what it is.
Okay, but let me
I
read
think what you're
this.
saying is true.
Well, the
The tech-
literature calls it a stain,
Yeah,
which is.
Right, it says it's a revolutionary hybrid stain.
Keep reading though, please,
The
because
second-
it goes on to
The
talk
second
about.
page says treated with oil-based weathering agents. We offer two types of oil-based stains that have been proven to work for decades. Penetrate the wood and enhance the unique character of the cedar shingle. So technically, it is a stain. But let's go back to the point that they bring up, and is it something that we need to request changing or not? And my particular feeling is we probably don't need to. It'll be a learning curve for our benefit on materials. But past that, the manufacturer is calling it a stain, so
You might need a square of it, to see for your little building up there.
Yeah.
Just as a. That's a bad joke.
But this company,
I might
SBC,
need it on that.
I know you do.
Okay,
talks about it as it relates to the aging process. And they talk about it, I don't know where you
This
got
is-
that from them, great.
this is from,
I'm happy to get you more information as I can get.
this is from Ahrb.
Yeah. Understand, but they talk about it in terms of the aging process, and they talk about it not interfering with the natural aging of the cedar material. A stain would do that. Paint certainly does that.
Right,
So,
we're coming back to the point that the manufacturer calls it a stain, so
no, I
let's just throw it
understand
there
that, but
and just discuss the outcome, the anticipated outcome of the material.
Tony, what do you think?
It seems a bit like an aberration of how we've been working with you before, where you've come to us before really small issues.
Absolutely.
And then here, 20 feet away, you sort of went rogue and put these up without us.
am I known for doing rogue things? You know, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be here.
I think for,
So should we just do a vote?
is that sufficient?
Sure.
Or should
Here for
we
approval of
revisit
that
it with
particular-
a
What
application?
this is here for is an approval of that particular product
Material.
on that shingle.
Yeah.
It's not for the original approval. as far as-
Can we approve it as a change of color, so we don't have
Yeah.
a precedent of
Right.
undefensible positions?
That's
Could
fine.
you approve it not so much as a change of color? Because it's not meant to pigment the structure, because it should be a silvery cedar shingle, which it will be.
Well, aging process, they could mean it's not sealed, so you won't get any dry rot or anything.
We'll just prove it as it's labeled by the company. Sure.
All right,
You want me to do it?
yeah, because you,
Can we have a motion to approve this stain bleach enviro material on the shingles
at 35
at
Sac Road,
35 Sac Road?
in consideration of its longevity and,
A clarification of its
careful,
non-aesthetic uses.
not aesthetic uses. Uh, It should have something to do with longevity of the material. And that it would not be.
But we're saying it because it's just a product.
Yeah, right.
We're approving this product.
Chris, do you have any thought?
I would say you're just approving the product. The product speaks for itself. It already has its own specifications. And so if you're just saying that you're approving in particular and specify the precise name of the product,
Mhm.
and I think that's sufficient.
Okay, thank you. So we would be approving the use of the Enduro bleach on white cedar. Is that correct? Okay, all right. Is there a motion for that? Somebody want to move that?
So moved?
Thank you, Tony. Any second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Hi.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yep,
Sorry for any confusion.
that's
I
okay.
really
We're
am.
just trying to keep ourselves above water,
We,
so we're floating.
we are all for that.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
All right.
Thanks again.
I'll be looking for the reason on that.
Revision.
So, anybody up for committee of two? Hearing all kinds of offers.
I can do it.
I won't be around for too much of this month, hopefully.
I'm gone also for that.
Okay. All right,
I'm going for a caravan.
okay, so you're gonna say yes, and then I'll let you know after your recap.
I think you're saying you're not here, right?
Yeah, I'm here for the next week if you want to front load our committee of two obligations.
Great. Alicia, are you around?
Sorry, what dates are we talking about?
It would be the upcoming month.
I am. Is the date the 25th?
That's the meeting, yeah.
That's the meeting, but what I'm looking for is someone to help me with the committee of two applications. If they come up, it can usually be sent to you by email. And if you want to discuss it, we usually would discuss the topic that's up for approval.
That's fine. I will be available in person till the 16th and then I'll be away for a week, but that's fine.
Okay, very good. All right,
So Alicia,
very good. Thank you all. Any comments?
Maybe if,
Not that I want recorded.
Can we stop the recording?
we gotta adjourn the meeting
Yes.
first.
Motion to adjourn?
second.
All those in favor? Aye. Very good. Recording off.